Round 2, Group 33.
This is where the competition really starts to intensify.
Right, massively. These are no longer unknowns. Every album here has already proven itself once.
They all survived round 1, which means they showed enough quality or endurance or just sheer personality to defeat 3 other contenders.
They're the survivors. And now they fight for a spot in round 3. The pressure is on.
It's immense, especially when you look at the lineup for this Group 33. You have 4 albums fighting for just 2 spots. Let's lay out the contenders for everyone.
Okay, first up we have The Hits Chapter 1 by the Backstreet Boys.
A classic.
Absolutely. A quintessential late 90s, early 2000s pop compilation. It really represents the peak of that boy band era's slick, engineered perfection.
Okay, contender number 2.
That would be It's Not Me, It's You by Lily Allen.
A completely different vibe.
Night and day. This was released in 2009. And it's just a masterclass in sharp wit, highly idiosyncratic musical styling, and sometimes controversial but always thought-provoking lyrics.
All right, number 3.
We go back in time for this one. Santana III by Santana.
Oh, a true classic rock entry.
For sure. A foundational, seminal 1971 effort, it just showcases that Latin-fused rock mastery and pure instrumental virtuosity.
And finally, the 4th contender is a bit of an outlier.
It is. It's American Heartbeat Vinyl, which is a various artist compilation.
So not a single artist album.
No, it's essentially a premier, highly curated collection of AOR that's album-oriented rock from the early 80s. It represents the ultimate in melodic consistency.
So what's truly fascinating here, and I think what makes this album quest so compelling, is the sheer disparity.
In the judging criteria, you have to shift your brain for each one.
You've got individual instrumental genius from the 70s facing a structured, highly commercial AOR rock compilation.
Which is then up against a perfectly engineered pop hits collection and a super idiosyncratic 21st century singer-songwriter who thrives on personality.
Okay, let's unpack this. We have AOR rock, 70s Latin rock, late 90s pop, and 2000s electro pop.
It's a mess, a beautiful mess.
It's a truly random, high-stakes battle where, genre allegiance means absolutely nothing to Greenstrokes.
Zero.
This is where the quest gets really interesting because the author's subjective, deeply personal criteria are about to be put to the ultimate test against 4 successful survivors.
Right.
So our mission today is to dissect the logic, or maybe the beautiful lack of logic, that leads to a winner in this highly volatile group.
Before we jump into the critique of Group 33 itself, I think it's vital we understand the immense pedigree of these albums.
Right, how they even got to this point.
We cannot overstate that Round 2 status means they have already survived the initial filtering process of the album quest.
They're proven contenders.
Exactly. They finish in the top 2 of their respective Round 1 groups. This immediately raises the bar for what they have to deliver now.
That initial victory is absolutely crucial context. When you realize what some of these albums had to beat just to get to this stage, it changes the entire dynamic of Group 33.
It really does.
These are not just good albums, they are survivors who overcame some massive names in music history.
So let's spend some time on that, on examining the paths they took. Let's start with our eventual group winner, which the author signaled pretty early as dominant.
That would be American Heartbeat Vinyl.
Correct. This compilation qualified from Round 1, Group 211, and it didn't just qualify, it topped the group.
Okay, and who did it eliminate? This is where the diversity of the quest system really, really shines.
It does. American Heartbeat took first place, successfully advancing ahead of Charlie Puth's 9-track Mind.
A huge contemporary pop album.
A very big album. Also beat Fingers of Gold Vinyl by Juanito de Alba and Heart and Soul of Valentine's Collection, which was another various artists compilation.
So even if those aren't, classic rock titans, a compilation album dominating a group that has a major contemporary pop artist like Charlie Puth is significant.
It really is. It shows that the specific aesthetic of AOR, that consistency, that polish, is a potent force in this quest.
Right. So it's a dominant win. It establishes this hierarchy where a melodic, well-curated 80s rock compilation takes precedent over modern pop structure.
And over specialized genre vinyl, too. It immediately sets the stage for AOR being a strong, consistent contender, at least according to Greenstrokes' assessment.
Well, the genre is kind of inherently built for this kind of success, isn't it? It emphasizes accessible, radio-friendly excellence, less room for error.
That's a great point. There's less filler by design.
Okay, next up we have Lily Allen's It's Not Me, It's You. Now, this album had a path that, on paper, looks just utterly impossible.
It really does. It qualified from Round 1, Group 169, but it only placed second.
But what it beat to get that second place is the real story.
And this path is arguably the most surprising and, I think, philosophically revealing path of any contender in this entire group.
Lay it on us. Who did she beat?
Lily Allen advanced ahead of some incredibly heavy hitters, albums that are frequently cited as critical darlings. First, 10,000 Days by Tool.
Wow. Okay, a prog metal masterpiece.
And then, perhaps the most shocking elimination of them all, London Calling by The Clash.
Wait, hold on. You're kidding.
I am not.
We need to just stop and really analyze that. An idiosyncratic 2009 electro-pop album, no matter how critically lauded, beat both a foundational progressive metal masterpiece and arguably the greatest punk new wave double album of all time in the same group.
It sounds unbelievable, doesn't it?
It completely reframes what this quest is about.
It tells you immediately that the author's criteria are so far removed from conventional music criticism or, historical significance.
This isn't Pitchfork.
Not even close. The album quest is inherently a personal journey. And for Lily Allen's package to outrank two genre-defining behemoths like Tool and The Clash, it must possess qualities like lyrical connections, emotional resonance.
Or sheer listenability, something that Greenstock clearly prioritizes above established genius.
That instantly recalibrates our expectations for what the author values. Clearly, structural perfection and influence, the very qualities that define an album like London Calling, they just don't automatically guarantee victory here.
Not at all. But what's interesting is she was still topped in that round one group.
Right. Who came in first?
Goldfinger's Hang-Ups.
The ska punk album, of course.
Which is another interesting wrinkle, right? So a third wave ska punk album topped the group, while Lily Allen survived the punk and prog giants.
It reinforces the idea that cohesiveness and specific targeted enjoyment, like what Goldfinger offers, can trump the sprawling ambition or the sheer technical weight of bigger names. Still, advancing out of that specific quartet is a monumental achievement. It shows that it's not me, it's you carry some serious idiosyncratic weight in this competition.
Okay, moving on to Santana III. This is pure 70s rock royalty.
Absolutely. Santana qualified from round one, group 48, and like American Heartbeat, they topped their group easily. It demonstrated undeniable quality.
So who did they conquer?
A blend of massive commercial success and raw hard rock energy. They beat two giants in their own right. First, take That's Greatest Hits.
A huge UK pop staple, all about that engineered chart success.
And on the other end of the spectrum, they also beat AC/DC's foundational hard rock album, High Voltage.
Wow. So Santana III showed that pure musical talent and instrumental prowess could easily overcome both slick pop engineering and the foundational riff-heavy attack of hard rock.
It's a clear statement that when the talent is that undeniable, it commands respect in the album quest. Santana walked into round two feeling like an inevitable classical force.
And our final contender is The Hits, Chapter 1 by the Backstreet Boys.
They managed to qualify from round one, group 56, securing the second spot.
Their path included beating Def Leppard's classic Pyromania.
Which is a huge accomplishment. I mean, given that album's stature in the glam metal and AOR world, that's a big scalp.
But they ultimately came in second to Roxette's Room Service.
Which is a fascinating pair of results. A Roxette studio album beating a Backstreet Boys hits compilation, but that hits compilation beating a Def Leppard classic.
What does that tell you?
It tells you that the author has a real soft spot for well-crafted pop, maybe, but also that something about Pyromania didn't connect in that moment.
And the fact that Backstreet Boys advanced ahead of a quintessential hard rock album like Pyromania is a colossal plot point.
Especially given the author's later, almost immediate, self-reflective comments on that decision.
We'll definitely get to that.
That round one decision carries so much weight that it influences the entire tone of the round two review.
So for now, the key takeaway is that all four contenders, AOR, British pop, Latin rock, and boy band pop, have demonstrated the necessary quality, however specific, to survive a cutthroat round one group.
And now, in Group 33, they face a fresh fight defined by a random toss-up of genres. This is where it gets good.
All right, now we get to the core of the album quest methodology. The specific, granular, and often hilarious commentary provided by Greenstock.
This is where we stop looking at history and start understanding the subjective calculus that led to the final ranking.
Let's start with the one that, well, seemed to dominate the field from the get-go, American Heartbeat Vinyl.
The author's assessment of this compilation is just overwhelmingly positive and quite specific. It hinges entirely on its accessibility and emotional payoff.
How is it described?
It's defined immediately as a sing-along fun fest, premier collection of AOR from the early 80s.
Sing-along fun fest. That phrase is such a key descriptor of the album's appeal.
It signals pure, unapologetic enjoyment. There's no pretense there.
And that descriptor is vital for understanding the AOR genre, right? Album-oriented rock was essentially music engineered for FM radio.
Exactly. It wasn't intended to be abrasive or overly challenging. It was designed to be universally accessible, melodically perfect, and technically precise.
The defining characteristic mentioned here is that it rocks hard without being too heavy. It's the perfect melodic balance.
Precisely. The author specifically calls out that it's all about the melodies.
And in the context of the quest, this consistency in delivering high-quality, memorable melodies becomes a massive advantage.
A huge one. While other albums might have peaks and valleys, AOR, especially in a curated compilation format, is designed to eliminate the valleys entirely.
And the compilation itself provides the undeniable evidence. I mean, the track list is just a murderer's row of anthems.
They list tracks that define the radio landscape of the time. We're talking about massive, iconic songs here that require no introduction.
Like Eye of the Tiger by Survivor.
Hold the Line by Toto.
More Than a Feeling by Boston.
And Keep on Loving You by REO Speedwagon.
These are power ballads and stadium rock hits that have incredible staying power. They're the definition of memorable melody, meeting clean, stadium-sized rock production.
And because this is a compilation, the author is implicitly rewarding the curation, the ability to gather undeniable quality into one cohesive, fun experience.
And the verdict signal is impossible to ignore. It's laid out right there in the review.
Greenstock states plainly, with zero ambiguity, that this compilation sweeps the floor with the competition here.
That's a powerful statement to make at the beginning of a review.
That kind of unambiguous praise immediately elevates it above the other three contenders. It signals its eventual high placement long before the final ranking is revealed.
It sets a very high bar for the other albums to try and reach.
And it tells us that in the album quest, a successful compilation that delivers constant melodic joy often holds a philosophical advantage over a flawed studio album, regardless of genre.
Right. The absence of filler is the winning formula.
Moving directly into a completely different sound, let's discuss the review of Santana III.
Okay, from AOR to Latin rock. This review begins with pure admiration, right? It's anchored in just pure, unadulterated musical talent.
It is. The author frames the discussion around Carlos Santana's pure individual musical talent and his mastery of the electric guitar.
What's fascinating here is the emphasis on technical prowess. That's often a hallmark of albums that make it far in any ranking.
And the author specifically notes how impressive this mastery is today, let alone in 1971 when Santana III was released.
This album is a snapshot of his early genius, capturing a blend of electric blues and rock.
But his genius is defined by that fusion. The album is described as having an endless amount of samba thrown in for good measure.
That mixing of genres is what makes Santana unique. It's the driving, hypnotic rhythm section that gives his music its heat.
The review highlights specific examples of his technical genius, which proves the author spent time really engaging with the complexity, not just skimming the surface.
What are the examples?
We hear praise for the explosive solo at the end of Taboo and the riffing flicks throughout Jungle Strut.
So it's clear the author recognizes the sheer technical quality and improvisational skill on display. The objective quality is there, no question.
None whatsoever.
Yeah.
However, here's where the subjective element of the album quest introduces the flaw.
The but.
The big but. Despite the recognized quality and what are called spells of magic, not black magic, the review delivers the fatal blow.
Which is?
The samba style is deemed incessant.
Oof. Incessant. That is a devastating word in an album quest.
It really is. It implies repetition, predictability, or simply wearing out the listener's patience.
So the album fails not because it lacks quality, but because that quality is too persistent.
Exactly. The relentless pursuit of a singular stylistic statement, even a masterful one like Latin rock fusion, prevents variety and ultimately tires the listener, marking it down in this competition.
But wait a minute, is that a fair critique? If a chef masters one dish and serves it perfectly, do you deduct points because they didn't offer a salad?
That's a great analogy.
Santana is supposed to be Latin rock with samba rhythms. Isn't criticizing him for being incessant kind of like criticizing AC/DC for using the same guitar riff? It's the point.
And this is exactly what the album quest forces us to confront. Greenstock is judging the album experience, not the genre purity.
The listen from start to finish.
Right. In that context, repetition is a vulnerability. It means the album lacks the dynamic peaks and valleys that keep the listener hooked for the entire duration.
A quality that American Heartbeat achieved through varied artists and production styles.
Precisely. The philosophy emerging here is that sustained, varied enjoyment triumphs over singular, unyielding technical mastery.
So the album's defining characteristic, the fusion, ends up being the very thing that limits its longevity and ranking because it becomes perceived as monotonous in this competition context.
Pure virtuosity wasn't enough to overcome the charge of repetition.
Wow. Okay, so this transition is where the album quest truly tests the limits of taste.
It certainly does.
We move from the structured melodic mastery of AOR and the technical genius of Santana straight to Lily Allen.
An artist whose success is entirely predicated on personality and lyrical bite, not flawless technique.
Here's where it gets really interesting for me. You contrast Santana's instrumental mastery, which failed due to repetition, with Lily Allen's package.
And Allen's musical style is so unique that the author struggles to even define it.
What's the description they land on?
They settle on describing it as a kind of weird clown rodeo circus hip-hop vibe.
Weird clown rodeo vibe. I love that.
It's a brilliantly chaotic description. It encapsulates the odd mix of ska influences, electronic beats, and pop structure.
Yet immediately, the author provides the counterbalance.
Admitting that she somehow makes it work.
Yeah.
This implies that despite the odd, almost chaotic soundscape, there is a fundamental brilliance to the execution.
The energy is cohesive even if the elements sound mismatched on paper?
Right. The review notes she successfully creates some top pop, with specific tracks cited, notably Fear and Back to the Start.
So that anchors the album in accessible pop structure, even if the surrounding sonic landscape is unconventional. But the true strength lies in her writing.
Indeed. According to Greenstrokes, the lyrics are the engine of this album.
And they're praised pretty highly.
They are. Praised as generally very good, being poetic, thought-provoking, and grounded in youthful themes. This speaks to her skill as a writer, tackling relatable issues with depth.
Which is something the AOR compilation, while fun, inherently cannot do. It's not designed for that.
Exactly.
Let's dedicate some time to the specific lyrical criticism of the song Fuck You, because this is a fantastic example of the irreverent reasoning we were promised.
It is. The author ignores the political slant of the track entirely, which is a choice in itself.
And instead chooses to focus purely on the logic of the lyrics.
The critique centers on the premise that it's okay for Lily Allen to hate somebody because that person themselves hates somebody else.
Right, the fighting fire with fire argument.
Yeah, and the author asks why, if Allen is championing acceptance and tolerance, she would resort to the same emotional weapon hate as the person she is attacking.
So the author is judging the song based on its philosophical merit and the consistency of its emotional argument.
Not just its pop appeal or catchiness, it's a fascinating pivot. They are judging the emotional maturity and logic presented in the lyrics.
Applying a standard of philosophical consistency that is, well, rarely brought to pop music criticism.
And this deep critical engagement shows why the album stood a chance against London Calling in the first place. The author takes the lyrics seriously as a literary construct.
There's also a great observation about the power dynamic in breakup songs, specifically regarding the track Not Fair.
Right. The author notes that being the subject of a famous singer's song is often romanticized. It's a shared history, even if it's a hostile breakup song.
It confers a certain kind of fame or notoriety. You're a part of the story.
But Greenstrokes points out that nobody, and they mean nobody, would actually want to be the person sung about in the track Not Fair.
Which details a man's sexual inadequacy and selfishness in excruciatingly public detail.
It takes the breakup song trope and turns it into pure, unromanticized humiliation. There's no glamour in it at all.
It proves Allen's lyrical strength lies in her unflinching, sometimes brutal honesty. She strips away the gloss.
She uses her unique voice to tell stories that resonate because they are so grounded in painful, real-life themes.
And crucially, despite the lyrical logic issues and the odd musical style, the overall package is strong.
The author explicitly states that It's Not Me, It's You is a stronger package than Santana III.
Think about that comparison for a second. A structured, contemporary pop package, despite fading quite badly in the last quarter, beats the undisputed musical genius of a 70s legend.
It confirms our emerging thesis. Cohesiveness, lyrical impact, and personality win out over pure instrumental genius that falls prey to stylistic repetition.
Finally, we turn our attention to the last contender, the hits Chapter 1 by the Backstreet Boys.
This compilation receives a very mixed review. It's simultaneously admiring of its commercial polish and highly critical of its internal inconsistencies.
A fate similar to, but distinct from, Santana's.
The general assessment is that the album is slick, well-executed fun for the most part, and contains some undeniable pop gold.
The author acknowledges that when the album hits, it hits hard. It fulfills its commercial mandate perfectly.
Right. We need to list those standout tracks because they are engineering marvels of the late 90s.
Okay, we've got Larger Than Life.
Everybody, Backstreet's back.
Shape of My Heart, Drowning.
And what the author calls the excellent The Call. These tracks represent the peak of boy band perfection. High production, catchy melodies, powerful hooks. They are built to endure.
However, the album suffers from two major critiques. One focused on performance and one on packaging.
Both of which severely hampered his chances in this round 2 fight. Let's start with the technical performance.
Note the blunt assessment here.
The boys were not exactly chosen for their mastery of vocals. It does get a bit wobbly in places. They ain't exactly sopranos.
But is that a fair critique in a quest for the best album? I mean, are we judging technical mastery, or are we judging the success of a commercial product?
A very good question.
If this album achieved its goal of creating mass marketable, slick pop, shouldn't we grade it on that curve? The author is holding them to a technical standard usually reserved for, I don't know, classical singers.
And that's the beautiful, maddening inconsistency of the album quest. The standard shifts based on the author's internal measuring stick.
Right. So they acknowledge the pop appeal, but they are clearly distracted by the moments where the technical skill falls short.
They don't mind the clown rodeo if the lyrics are brilliant, but they won't forgive vocal wobbles on a pristine pop package.
And this critique extends to the visual aesthetics, showing that the album quest considers the full package.
The author throws in a humorous jab at the dodgy photo on the cover, admitting that they are not exactly the target demographic for admiring 20-something men.
It's a small point, but it shows how external factors can influence the mood of the review.
But the real fatal flaw is structural.
This is the big one for a Hicks collection.
The author highlights the existence of a few ropey tracks, which is noted as a bad sign for a greatest hits album.
Well, yeah. A hits collection is supposed to be all killer, no filler. If filler exists, the entire premise of the album is undermined.
This is the opposite problem of American Heartbeat. Where American Heartbeat was praised for flawless curation, BSB is penalized for poor quality control.
And this leads to perhaps the most self-reflective human moment in the entire review.
It really is. It summarizes the quest's reliance on subjective judgment and the chaos of randomization.
The author admits, and I'm quoting here, "I don't know what I was smoking the day I put this album through ahead of Pyromania."
That admission is critical. It highlights the human element, the spontaneous regret, and the painful truth that a single random moment of judgment in round 1 can eliminate a masterpiece.
The question, "Will Def Leppard ever forgive me?" is a moment of pure questing angst.
It is. And the knowledge that they felt they made a mistake in round 1 surely lowered the tolerance for any flaws exhibited by the Backstreet Boys in round 2.
So the album came into this fight already weighed down by its author's regret.
Absolutely.
So we have a dominant, flawless AOR compilation, a technically masterful but repetitive Latin rock album weighed down by an incessant style.
A strong but structurally flawed hip-hop package, buoyed by lyrical depth.
And a commercially slick but inconsistent pop hits collection burdened by author regret.
Time to see how these specific critiques translated into the final ranking and the 2 survivors.
This raises an important question. How did all of that, all those critiques, translate into the final 2 who advanced to round 3?
We have established that the album quest prioritizes overall package strength and sustained enjoyment over isolated moments of genius or commercial success.
The stage was definitely set, particularly by that initial overwhelming praise for the compilation album.
Without a doubt.
Green Rocks made it pretty clear who the frontrunner was, based on the principle that the perfect execution of an accessible genre is just incredibly hard to beat.
Let's look at the official final ranking for round 2, group 33, from first to last.
Okay, let's hear it.
Number 1, sweeping the floor as predicted, American Heartbeat Vinyl by various artists.
No surprise there, a dominant performance.
Number 2, clinging on through sheer personality and lyrical strength, It's Not Me, It's You by Lily Allen.
So she makes it through.
She does. Which means number 3, eliminated despite technical mastery, Santana III by Santana.
Wow, Santana is out.
And finally, number 4, eliminated due to inconsistency and that author regret we talked about. The Hits Chapter 1 by the Backstreet Boys.
So the two winners advancing to round 3 are a compilation of 80s AOR rock and a unique British hip-hop album.
This is a decisive victory for melodic cohesion and unique, thought-provoking lyrical personality over genre royalty.
And the eliminations are just as telling, perhaps even more so.
They really are. The master talent of Carlos Santana, a musician of recognized genius, is eliminated because his sound was deemed incessant.
And the commercial polish and widespread success of the Backstreet Boys are also knocked out of the running.
Because of a handful of ropey tracks that undermine the compilation's entire premise.
Let's dissect the analysis of these eliminations a bit more. Compare the two fatal flaws. For the Backstreet Boys, the death blow was clear.
Having ropey tracks on a greatest hits album is a failure of curation and quality control. They failed to execute the very genre they claim to be selling perfection.
And the elimination of Santana III is, as you said, the more philosophically revealing outcome.
It was knocked out specifically because that powerful, defining element, the samba style, was deemed incessant.
This tells us that in the album quest, the penalty for technical repetition is often greater than the penalty for structural inconsistency.
Provided the inconsistent album, in this case Lily Allen, has enough personality to overcome its weak spots.
So what does this all mean? American Heartbeat, the AOR compilation, dominated. It confirmed the author's high praise for its pure melodic strength and sing-along appeal.
It proved to be the most consistent and enjoyable package. The lesson here is that a perfectly curated melodic compilation is one of the most dangerous entities in the entire album quest.
And Lily Allen's success is a victory for personality and structure over both repetition and a lack of quality control.
Her stronger package, despite the lyrical logic issues and the weak final quarter of the album, proved resilient enough.
It had enough thought-provoking content and top pop tracks to secure the second spot, overcoming the flaws that plagued the other two albums.
Her success hinges on depth and connection, not just pop engineering.
So the album quest, in this specific group, prioritized consistency and personality over genre-defining virtuosity or sheer commercial polish.
It was the AOR Fun Fest and the Lyrical Clown Rodeo that moved on,
cementing their status as worthy contenders for round 3.